Hi, everybody. I'm Neal Ronaghan, director of Nintendo World Rapport.com, and joining me for this episode of Nintendo World Rapport is our very own features editor, Justin Berube.
What's up, guys?
So, Justin, I guess before we get to talking about stuff, if you are watching this live, you can talk to us in the YouTube chat on the YouTube page. So do that if you have any questions or comments or want us to talk about specific things. But Justin, you have another name that you go by on the internet, and that is
Yes.
King Nintendo Fanboy.
Yes, I do.
I guess because that predates your existence here in the Nintendo World Rapport universe.
Yeah.
I guess how did you, one, get into your crazy Nintendo collecting, and two, where'd the name come from?
All right, that's two separate questions. So I guess I'll start with the collecting. I've been a Nintendo fan since I was probably about 4 years old. So even back then, I'd keep all my game boxes and like boxes for whatever I got Nintendo related, really. So just the collection kind of grew from there. I mean, it wasn't like one day I sat down and said, I'm going to start collecting Nintendo. It's just something that happened. And one day I'm like, damn, I have a collection. And then I guess at that point, I just started to build it up even more because I'm like, man, I got a good collection. Let's make something out of this. And as far as the King Nintendo Fanboy name, I guess it goes back to when I was part of the Nintendo Insider online community. That wasn't my name there. I went by Justy Berube, but I became friends with some of the people who ran the community at Nintendo of America, and I even met some of them at E3 when I went there. And I still talk to some of those guys occasionally, but one of the guys called me the King Nintendo Fanboy. So I didn't really go by that nickname even after he called me it a few times. But when I started running for Rip 10 and I started doing like videos and stuff, I said I wanted to do something to make myself stand out. So it's just not another guy sitting there named Justin Berube.
Signed before he signed you, and it's the crown as well. That's like your shtick.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make something that would be more memorable than my name, because my name's not the most common name, so most people aren't gonna. Well, Berube is not really a common name, and I'm like, King Nintendo Fanboy. I can just go by that, and it's kind of like a little marketing thing there. So kind of promote myself and give people an easy name to remember and something easily recognizable. It's like that Nintendo guy with the crown on.
So, from your Nintendo collection, like, what's some of the, I guess maybe the most valuable and or craziest stuff that you have?
Well, it's hard to talk about this because Satoru Iwata just passed away, but I do have a autographed headshot of Iwata, so I figure that's worth a decent amount of money these days.
How did you get an autographed headshot of Iwata?
At E3 2006. I mean,
were you carrying around headshots of Iwata just for him to sign?
Just in case. I'm like, I got some headshots of some other Nintendo guys also, and I'm like, this would be awesome if I could get this and like frame it.
Start doing that for like people that I know at NOA that like not even in Treehouse, like Gil or someone. Just go up to him with a fucking headshot of him and be like, hey man, can you sign this for me? That's like one time at PAX East, because the guys from Renegade Kid, Jules Watson and Greg Hargrove, they used to work at Acclaim, and I brought a box copy of South Park Chef's Love Shack to get them to sign, because they worked on that. And when I gave it to them, and like this is at a point, this was like 2 or 3 years ago, and we had Jules on this very show last week, and I've known him since, I don't know, I think a little bit before when Mutant Mutts came out was when I first met him, and he's a little bit of like, he's not just like, he's a little bit more than like a dude that I work with NWR, like we're buddies. So I brought that up to him. He's like, what the hell is this? But it was fun. And now I have a signed copy of the box of South Park Chef's Love Shack by the two dudes from Renegade Kid, because they worked on the N64 version.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I do
probably not worth any money, but
yeah, I mean, I have some signed games, like a Sakurai signed Smash Brothers Melee, a couple Miyamoto signed NES games. Tezuka signed my Super Mario Brothers on NES. So, I mean, that stuff's worth a lot. But I think as far as like merchandise goes, probably the rarest thing I have are those Nintendo World Store crystals. The first 3 years the store was open, every year they put out like a new like a laser etched crystal thing of different characters. So the first year was Mario, the second year was Peach, and the third year was Twilight Princess Link. And I don't know anybody else who has those things, so they're pretty freaking rare.
Cool. What about Chosen 2 Axe just asked in the chat, I can see just axed in the chat. What about Amiibo? Which I guess you have all the Amiibo, correct?
I have all the North American Amiibo.
All right. And you have no interest in the Euro or the Japanese, even the cool Rob?
I do want, if I will import the Rob, because that's going to be like an region exclusive, I guess.
Yeah.
So unless Nintendo of America wants to change their mind, please do, because you know how many people are probably planning on importing that? Yeah, that'd be stupid.
You wonder if there's anyone in Japan that's like, oh man, I gotta get the American version of Rob, like complaining to Nintendo in Japan, being like, hey, what are you guys doing? Release the other version here as well. We really want that.
Yeah, I really don't know how things work in Japan, but I feel like here, like the fans are all vocal, and I have no idea how vocal the fans are in Japan, or if there's even like an outlet for them to speak.
There's way less of them in Japan, just because there's way less people in Japan. Period.
Yeah, so it's just a weird situation where here we're all like, oh, we want this, and then because less people know Japanese here and whatnot, I really don't know what's going on for them. Like, I don't know if there's like websites where any of them complain or whatnot. So
yeah, I'd be curious about like what's the life of a Japanese Nintendo fan. That might be something to ask the Famicast guys. Maybe when I get one of them on Nintendo World Rapport.
Yeah, definitely do. I'm interested in hearing about that.
Well, I guess most of them are also all like people not from Japan there, but still they might know. They might have some insight.
Yeah, definitely.
So what else? Any other cool collectibles worth talking about?
I mean, I have so much stuff. It's really hard to just pick out certain items.
So how much stuff do you have?
I guess one more thing you could say is I have all the Nintendo first 4 figures.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have
I saw. What did you get? The Zelda one?
Yeah, I got the Zelda one. I got the Kirby ones, which I haven't really shared pictures of yet. But yeah, I got all that.
What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is King Nintendo Fanboy, so follow me on there for pictures.
Yeah, he posts a lot of pictures.
You can see some of I stopped my videos, but I'm still going to do some occasionally, so you can check out my YouTube page, King Nintendo Fanboy, for that stuff.
Yeah, he's got a bunch. If you want to see a lot more of his collection, you can go there. And then maybe there's that fabled, and I'm going to say it publicly so that way people can shame me into doing it, the kind of joke idea of doing like a Storage Wars parody. With the, because there is a storage unit with all of your shit in it. I guess we won't be
some
aware.
Of it, yeah.
But it exists somewhere out there. So
yeah, I mean, not everything's there. So I mean, that unit isn't just for me. It's like my family stuff. So I got some stuff in there, but I have some stuff at home that I haven't organized yet, and stuff in a third location, like a family member's house. But yeah. Yeah, most of my stuff is boxed up, so it's not like you come over and see most of my stuff displayed. The only thing I really have displayed are my games. So as far as merchandise goes lately, it's more like I get it, take some pictures of it, share it with you guys through different outlets, and pack it away because I don't have a way to display it right now. So that's kind of sad. But
and like, what kind of like future do you want to do with that collection?
I mean, at this point, I really have to start thinking about that because it's getting to a point where I have more stuff than I can easily manage on my own. It's like getting to that point where it's like, holy crap, what have I done?
Yeah.
And I mean, it would be great to do some sort of museum thing in the future, have some sort of like public displays to show this off and really educate people on Nintendo.
On the legacy of the company, especially the kind of fun merchandise as well.
Yeah, because I mean, games and stuff, you can look a lot of that stuff up online and have an understanding of what's going on. But I think the merchandise in a lot of cases is rarer than the games because they don't make as much of it. And you see it and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, look at those figures. Look at that, whatever the hell, promotional item. Like, there's a lot of history and stuff that goes with that, too, that a lot of people overlook. And there's not really a good database online for a lot of that.
Cool. Well, I guess moving on to that, how'd you get to writing about games from collecting?
All right. Well, I guess that goes back to my time sneaking into E3. For years, I'd sneak into E3.
I love a good sneak into E3 story. So I don't think I think I might have heard this at some point. But
I'll tell the first year I got into E3. I was 16 years old, and it was 2001. So that was a huge year.
That was a big E3
for Nintendo. I'm like, oh my god, I want to go to E3. It's going to be like the first time the GameCube stuff is shown off and playable. Before then, we really only got like some teaser trailer.
Yeah,
I think Space World 2000. Which didn't show too much. And there was a lot of speculation on that. And I remember before going to that E3, I'm like, man, I really hope there's Smash Brothers. And like a week beforehand, I think it got announced. But I wanted to go so bad. And my dad had a job not in the gaming industry, but a related industry, I guess, that would sometimes maybe use technology. I'd say like a technology industry without giving away too much. So I'm like, hey, Dad, you think you could get us into E3? And he's like, no, we're not going there. I'm like, your company wouldn't send you? He's like, they're never going to send me there. Like, forget it. And like maybe like a month and a half before E3, he's like, you're never going to believe it. They want me to go to E3. And I'm like, yeah. So he's like, I'll take you. We'll just go. So we flew out there. Back then, don't try this anymore, just like to get into E3, because we did get tickets in advance, but the security back then was way more lax. Like, they didn't really check anything. You just kind of showed up, said, here.
Even in the, because my first one was 2009, but seeing from 2009 to today, the security has gotten tighter and tighter every year, it seems.
Oh, yeah. So it's back then, let me tell you, like, you just like showed up, told them your name, and they'd print your badge. And now, like, they want like photo ID and everything. Yeah. So you're not going to have the same sneaking into E3 experiences that I had if you try that, which I don't recommend.
You would have been underage because they don't allow people 18 or older, right?
They didn't even check.
That was, I know, what was it, TYP. I think it might have been that same E3, or maybe it was, I think it might have been E3 2001. So you and him might share an underage E3 experience of the same E3.
I know.
Yeah, because that was I think that was the year that they got the picture of the GameCube logo.
Yeah, that was the year it was shown off.
Yeah, so that was the year that TYP was, I think he was 17 and he was underage. I didn't realize that you guys shared that same underage E3 attendee story for the same exact E3 as well.
Yeah, that E3 was so good too with the GameCube. Yeah. And Game Boy Advance wasn't out here yet either, so they had
I think it was a month to go.
To show off at once, and
that's if you want to see a really fun press conference. Well, I don't know if fun. I think more interesting because it is super dated because it's from that time period where like the E3 press conferences were really dry. But it's just like I know that you see a very young Bill Trinan translating for Miyamoto, doing Pikmin stuff, and a lot of fun stuff. I think like E3 2001 and 2002 were both very kind of fascinating years, and I don't say 2002 just because Planet GameCube released a DVD of that.
Yeah, so getting back on topic a little, I guess I keep going back to E3 occasionally, like every couple of years, and
that would all be with your dad's company.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it was like for the company he was working for, but then he also had his own company, and then I just started like using that as the company I went under.
Yeah, I know a few people that even still do that, where they just have like friends or family members that are loosely tied to the games industry and then get to go that way. And even that's still how a lot of people, like indie guys I know I've talked to, they'd have a much harder time, and they'll just like, oh yeah, I'm still friends with the guy at Activision, so that's how I'll get in.
Yeah, so then we got to like those dark E3 years where like not much happened, where like E3 scaled back.
E3 didn't really exist.
Yeah, so I didn't go to those. Yeah, and then in 2009 I didn't try to go. I wanted to go back to E3 because I always had so much fun going. But 2009 I didn't go. As more of like, let's wait and see if like E3 is actually back. And then so then I'm like, okay, next year I'll go. So I went with a friend of mine, and I wasn't with any site or anything, and we sat down at a bar, which is kind of rare for me to do since I don't drink. And a guy sat next to me by the name of Dave Oshry, and he was writing for Rip 10, and now I believe he works for Gunners. So he sat down, we got talking, and he said he realized how much I knew my Nintendo shit. And he's like, yeah, we need a Nintendo writer because we got nobody on our site writing about Nintendo who really knows about it, just like occasional stuff. So I said, yeah, sure. And after E3, I contacted them and started writing for the site. And that went on for a few years, and I joined Nintendo World Report.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was when you left Rip 10. I saw that you left Rip 10. I'm like, gotta get this guy on. He's got the picture. It's him with the World of Nintendo sign on the back, and he's got a crown on.
Yeah, I mean, I think we started following each other before then too. So yeah.
You were the competition. I had to shoot you down.
Yeah, I broke some stories and had some good shit occasionally.
I think we actually did. I think I might have met you at E3 2011 or 12, maybe.
Maybe I don't remember. I've been to so many goddamn E3s.
I think it was E3 2012 because I think I was going to meet Jules from Renegade Kid, who seems to be a common thread between a lot of this stuff. And I was going to meet up with him, and I think he was with you.
Yeah. I think that was the time when I was demoing games outside, which was really
Bomb
difficult.
Monkey, maybe.
Bomb Monkey and ATV.
Yeah, because then we went and got tacos with him and played Bomb
Yeah, and I
Monkey.
was like, yeah, but yeah, I think I ran into Jared and maybe Guillaume was there.
I
I
think
think.
Guillaume was at that one.
And then I'm like,
Trying
oh,
to think of
Neal's.
it.
I'm like, I know you guys are NWR. Neal's coming. We always talk on Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
I'll say hello. Waited for you to come by. But yeah,
Good
that was
deal.
cool.
Yeah, and then I think yeah, your first E3 with us was the next year, 2013, because yeah, you've had
Yeah,
three
with
with us.
NWR, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this year was my 10th E3 overall.
Damn. Yeah, I'm up to 7. So.
Yeah, it's starting to mix in my mind a bit at times. So
I feel like I've gotten to the point where I feel like I need to like write down or capture, because I have a bunch of notebooks from when we used to take notes on paper. That's weird concept, I know. But I have notebooks from, I think it's probably like E3 2009 through like 2012, because I would just bring these little notebooks that like weren't full size. I mean, I guess like more like a reporter's notebook that I would just kind of.
I hooked you up that one year. You forgot.
Yeah, no, I totally did. No, I've gotten really bad. Like this year, I didn't even bring one, and then I got to a point where I'm like, I don't even need one.
Especially with how few games we had to cover.
Yeah, like I would actually use my phone a lot for note taking and stuff like that. But yeah, I used to take notes, and some of my favorite notes are the ones that I took during press conferences, because I wouldn't really be doing anything during the press conference itself. So in like 2009, 2010, 2011, I'd just be taking these stream of conscious notes that, looking back on them now, are fascinating, because it was like something when they were building up to revealing the name of the Wii U. Like, I think I have a couple of like basically me betting against myself, being like, what are they going to name this thing? And probably every name that I came up with was better than what they actually came up with.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, Neal.
I think that was basically just like our row of NWR people were just like chanting "Super Wii, Super Wii," because that would have been fun.
We all.
Yeah. What else about? So now with Nintendo World Rapport, you're a features editor.
Yes.
So what does that mean that you do for the website?
There's times when I try to like rally people behind different ideas we might have to try and get people to contribute to different feature stuff. I really focus on writing features more than like anything else on the site. So
yeah,
I really focus getting new content out, like features, editorials, and I do videos from time to time, which kind of fall into that, but we have a separate group for the videos, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we have NWRTV. That's what you're watching right now.
Right here, NWRTV. Thanks.
Subscribe.
For our awesome video team, which really is amazing and keeps getting better and better like every year. So yeah, trying to get people to write features, tossing ideas out there, following through, editing other people's features, getting them up on the site, looking them over again, even when they're up there, maybe adding some TSIs when I get a chance. I mean, I do other stuff too. I do a lot of work on the our games database. So every week when that Nintendo download comes up, I'm like, let's go back through here, make sure everything's right, make sure the new companies are added for all those wonderful.
And that is, you're doing the Lord's work there, because that is something that got into like crazy disrepair for a little while.
Yeah, when I joined the site, like I remember there was a point when you were trying to make sure everybody was doing something every week. So I'm like trying to find a hole where nobody was like doing something, and like that was a huge one at the time where I'm like, people really need to look at this database because there's so many things wrong and missing, and I could probably spend the rest of my time with NWR going back and fixing things in there. There's still things.
Well, yeah, because we have. I mean, for people who I guess know the history of the site, or I guess even people that don't, we had a major site redesign. What was it? Summer 2010. And when we went to that site redesign, there was a bug in it. We were in beta. There was a bug with it where adding games was really, really hard. Like, it was like only people that were on the technical side of things could even add games. So there was probably, once again, we're all volunteers, so this is why things take so damn long. I think it might have been a year or so that people couldn't really add games without like needing to go through like 8 million hoops. So by the time that got fixed, I think that would have been, I mean, still not exactly when you came on staff, but people had gotten used to adding games being such a terrible process that it took a while before we got back on the horse of adding games and having it, not be broken.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, it was still difficult before the latest site redesign. It was pretty hard to do, and I was like begging people, show me how to do this.
Yeah, it was very, very challenging. But
And there were
now it's a
times,
lot better.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's so much easier now, and once you teach someone how to do it, it's really helps the site when people start doing it. So I appreciate the people who are really helping with that, especially Donald right now, who's kicking
Yeah.
ass with it.
I feel like I need to start having like Marvel like callbacks to like listen to Nintendo World Rapport episode 4 for with Donald Terrio for more details on what Donald's doing on the site.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's so we're looking to the future a little bit. What are you kind of looking forward to for the rest of the year from I guess what feature ideas are you kicking around and like games and just stuff that's happening in the second half of 2015?
Yeah, I guess feature ideas that we should start talking about soon are Virtual Boy ideas, because next month is the 20th anniversary of Virtual Boy. And for those who don't know, that was the first Nintendo console I bought on launch day. So
you would have been like 10 years old.
Yeah, I saved up for it. I mean, that in 3D Nintendo Power really pushed me over the edge. I couldn't wait for this shit. It's like virtual reality in my home. Like I can't wait. So I'm like saving up money, and the Virtual Boy didn't really have a hard release date. A lot of things back then didn't. It was kind of weird, where it's like we'll send it to you when it comes out. It'll be this month. So you'd be calling the stores just trying to figure out when they'd get their shipment in and whatnot. So it was a different time back then.
It was. There's also, I mean, there's I don't know. So last week we got to go to Nintendo of America in New York.
We did.
They have a small office there, but they were doing a press tour, showing off some of the E3 stuff again. So that means you and I, we got to play Star Fox again. We got to play Super Mario Maker.
Oh yeah.
And we also got to check out 2 games for the first time. I think, well, I played some Blast Ball, but you played some Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, although you only played a few minutes, and we both played Little Battlers Experience.
Yes.
I guess, what did you think of Happy Home Designer and LBX?
Well, Happy Home Designer, we have a great feature or a preview, whatever you want to call it.
There's also
it's like a preview feature. This type
for
of thing.
LBX is up as well. If you want to read that.
Check those out on the website. But Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, I'm excited for it, but just because it's Animal Crossing doing something different we haven't seen before. I'm kind of tired of the old formula. I know a lot of people out there were begging for a Wii U version of Animal Crossing, but I was just like, I'm really not interested in that type of game right now, because I think Animal Crossing, traditional Animal Crossing anyway, works so much better as a portable game. You can have it with you whenever. It's not like you have to rush home to do certain events or maybe a couple hours each day. I know all of us have busy schedules, especially as we get older, so a console version just is much harder to get into.
Yeah.
So the fact that Nintendo's trying something new with Animal Crossing is exciting. It's just, even after playing the demo, I'm not quite sure what the goal is, because you go around, I guess, and design different villagers' homes, but what's the end goal here? Am I just going to be continually fixing homes? Do I want to like get a certain number of people to a certain happiness level or something?
To be fair, what's the end goal of Animal Crossing?
There isn't really an end goal, but you're living in that world. So it's kind of like to make your world and like expand your house. But in this case, I'm helping everybody else. I'm not really doing anything for me. Not to sound too selfish there, but what is my end goal in the game? Like, what's my reward for helping these people? And at this point, I'm not really sure. And when I was asking the Nintendo of America representative,
he didn't even know.
Yeah, he's
actually,
like,
I forget his last name. I know it's Demetrius. He's been in a couple of the. He's been on a bunch of the Treehouse Live stuff, and a lot of like just the Treehouse stuff in general.
Yeah.
He was a very good Metroid Prime Blast Ball player. I can tell you that much.
Yes. So I'm excited to see where that game goes, and I hope it's just not a game that makes me want to buy hundreds of Amiibo cards.
Well, you're going to do that anyway. So
I know, but I'd like it to be a little more than that, the game.
Yeah. Yeah, have it be more
just
a
be
good
a game
that has this stuff on top of it.
Yes.
As opposed to something that requires it.
Exactly. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm reasonably excited for that game just because I am kind of curious to see how it turns out, because I think with how good New Leaf was, and it looks like it's like a lot of the people who worked on New Leaf are working on Happy Home Designer and Amiibo Festival, like I feel like they've developed enough goodwill with how good New Leaf was that like I'm in checking out both of these spin-offs. And I have faith in them that they're going to make a really fun game, even if it is something a little bit different than what you might expect.
Yeah, Amiibo Festival, I'm a little more worried about at this point.
I think there's a lot more we haven't heard about Amiibo Festival.
I hope so, because they're selling it as a retail game. So
well, it's going to be it's ostensibly free to play, but the retail package is going to be like the game and like
a couple Amiibo.
Yeah, and some Amiibo, and I think basically the cost of that game is going to be the Amiibo, not necessarily the disc.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which, I mean, I think that's kind of the way to go. Like, I think it's coming with, what, 2 Amiibo and, like, a pack of cards or something.
Something like that.
We haven't heard a price on it, but I guess we'll probably find that out in the coming months.
Well, I think Best Buy has it up for pre-order, and I think it's $60.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I guess, maybe that does seem a little steep if it's just going to be 2 Amiibo and some cards, but we'll find out more about the exact price of that. I wouldn't be surprised if that turns out to be like a $40 game or something.
Yeah, we don't know what the price of the cards are even going to be.
Yeah,
so,
we don't even know how they're going to be distributed, which is a little worrying that we're, well...
2 months away?
We are as of recording, we are 11 days away from the Japanese launch of this game, and about 2 months from the American one. But yeah, I'll totally check this game out when it comes out. What do you think of LBX? Because I wrote, you can read my thoughts on Little Battlers Experience.
Yes.
It was the multiplayer mode that we played. And I was kind of taken by it. Like, it seems like it's something that I could really sink my teeth into and mess around with the single player. And on the 2 times a year when I'm actually near people, play the local multiplayer.
Yeah, Little Battlers impressed me a little bit in the fact that it looked like there was a lot more depth to it than even Custom Robo. And it looked like there are different systems to learn, and the customization looked more promising than in Custom Robo. I think my biggest problem when playing was when we first started, the rep kind of focused on you, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So then, like, he kind of hopped back to me, and I wasn't sure what he told me, and like I'm trying to figure things out. So that happened. You can see how Neal kicked my ass in his preview.
I will say that he didn't do the best job of telling me what the hell was going on.
Okay, yeah, I was a little confused because it's like, yeah, do this and do that.
I think the only thing that he told me, that he was like, "This is your main attack," and I'm like, "All right." And then I just pressed a bunch of buttons to try to like find a dash so I could get over to you quickly.
Yeah, I didn't know how to dash like maybe my 3rd round or something. I'm like, oh, okay.
It was like the A button, because like the dash is weird because I was just tapping it, but you can hold it down and then like run. But yeah, I mean, it really does kind of seem like a more interesting Custom Robo. Not that the Custom Robo games were bad, but just that, like, I don't know, they were more curiosities than they were like games I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, Little Battlers looks like it's going to be more fun than you'd expect. So keep your eyes on it. But at the same time, the thing I think it's going to kill that game for a lot of people, especially older people, is the fact that there is no online play in that game.
Yeah, but there is 6-player local play.
Yes.
You can do like 2-on-2, 3v3. Like, that seems awesome. If I could do that online, it'd be like that. If that game were online, I could see getting into that like I got into Kid Icarus Uprising. And I think that's what disappoints me so much about that not being online, is that I had that moment when we were playing that demo where I was thinking in my head, I'm like, remember how into Kid Icarus Uprising you got in, Neal? Like, this could be that. And then he was like, there's no online. And both you and I were like dumbfounded.
Yeah, it just seems like the game you want to have online. Even without voice chat, just give us something. It's 2015. A game like that needs online.
Yep, for sure. I guess I'll kind of close out our recap of this Nintendo event. I played some more Metroid Prime Blast Ball. This was while you were playing Super Mario Maker. There was another people in the same appointment with us, and they wanted to play Blast Ball, and I hopped in. I really like Blast Ball the more that I play it. I think there's a lot of depth in it. I mean, it's not like there's a lot to that game. It's going to go down as just a bonus mode in the full Metroid Prime Federation Force package. But I had a lot of fun with Blast Ball, and I think that people who played it at E3 and didn't really get it, I feel like you should give it another look, because there's some stuff in that. Like the one thing that's key to me, and I think I might have talked about this at E3, is that like you can even do cool stuff like you use the L on here. I'll hold up my 3DS and
he's demonstrating.
You press L, and that's like a lock on, and then if you tap R and move the system around, you can then, while you're locked on, like kind of like how you could do it in Metroid Prime with the Wii controls, you can then kind of move the system around to kind of change your shots. So,
And you
like
can
what
also
I would,
use the circle nub
I
thing
think, yeah, I
to
think
do
you
that
can use
also.
that as well. I didn't try that. I don't think I was playing on a new 3DS. But you can do that, and then you can tilt it so you can shoot at the ball below it, and then pop it up over the guys' heads. And doing stuff like that made it way more interesting. And I guess it might also help that when I was playing it, we were playing with a couple people. I think they were from like Modojo maybe or US Gamer or something like that. Or the Gamer Network, which I think is like Modojo, US Gamer, Eurogamer, all that stuff. And they kind of, I think there was one guy who like had no idea what was going on, but we basically had 4 or 5 out of the 6 people playing were familiar with the game, and it was electric. Like we had one match that went back and forth. My team ended up losing, but that's because I think we had one guy on our team that didn't really know what was going on, and I almost saved that second to last goal from going in. And but
It can be fun.
yeah, like I had a
Don't,
I had
don't,
a
hate, don't hate it, guys, right away.
I had a
It's not,
blast with Blast Ball. That's all I'm gonna say.
now, Blast Ball isn't going to be a game I'd recommend spending $40 on its own, which it won't be, but it's a nice addition to the overall package.
It reminded me a ton of Rocket League, which it's a game that came out on, I think it's on PC as well as PS4. It's a PS Plus game this month. And while I'm not as into Rocket League as it seems the rest of the world is, it's a sensation right now. But it's very similar to Rocket League, except for, I guess, a little less chaotic. Because Rocket League, for people who don't know, it's this game where you're on like a big soccer field, you're racing as an RC car, and you're trying to use that RC car to hit a ball into a net. And just the kind of like where part of the challenge of Rocket League and part of the challenge of Blast Ball is just figuring out how to control the ball and like get it into the net. Like that's part of the challenge of both of those games. Is just kind of learning exactly how to do it.
Yeah, and there's also more to Blast Ball too. A lot of people I don't think realize this. It really does feel like Metroid Prime when you're playing. You can lock onto the ball, and you can dash left and right just like in Metroid Prime.
The power-ups are great too.
Yeah, it has that feel of Metroid Prime just without the alternate form.
I feel like a good comparison for where I'm at with Blast Ball is that it's kind of like Metroid Prime 2 multiplayer in that regard, where it is something that's going to be a bonus thing. But Metroid Prime 2 multiplayer is kind of dumb, but also pretty fun. We actually, back at PAX East, we played a bunch of Metroid Prime 2 multiplayer, and there were some people, I want to say, I'm trying to think of who we were with that was just like, no, this is dumb. But like Zach Miller and I were totally into it.
Did you play it on Wii? Or
yeah.
How are the motion controls in the multiplayer? How does
it's passable?
Okay, I didn't know if that improved it at all or over the GameCube one because I never played it on the trilogy.
Yeah, that was the first time I played it on the trilogy, and I mean we had a good time with it, and like that was a pretty competent bonus mode and a good single player game. And we can't speak for Federation Force's quality as a single player game because we have not played it, nor have we really seen that much about it.
Or as a multiplayer campaign game.
Yeah, but Blast Ball seems like it's going to be kind of like that Metroid Prime 2 multiplayer, but if it's online, then it'll definitely leap above that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they add a hunters mode in it as well, and let like some death matches and have those old hunters, maybe some new ones come back. Because I know a lot of people hated Metroid Prime hunters, but I had so much fun with the online in that game. Every character seemed like they had their own cheap, broken thing, and in the end, it kind of balanced out a little bit. So it was just stupid fun.
Yeah, like I would definitely love to see that, especially with having the little nubbin on the new 3DS. Like that would probably make that work even better. And even if they just use Metroid,
I want the old controls. I really thought that worked well. I mean, a lot of people hate them. Yeah, I mean, I hold my stylus a little weird, so it doesn't bother me as much. I put it between my index and middle fingers and just draw like that, and I keep my right pinky on the R button. Most people don't do it, but I had no problem controlling that, and I played Kid Icarus the same way.
Cool. I think that might be... Do we have anything else to talk about, to rap about here? I guess, well, you've been playing EarthBound Beginning.
Yeah, I have been playing that. I was playing
How far are you in EarthBound
Beginnings? I have half the melodies, and I just got the 4th party member. But when you get the 4th, this is like very minor spoilers, so sorry. When you get the fourth party member, you lose a party member, which I kind of had a feeling might happen because when you have 4 sprites like on the screen in the world map on one straight line, it starts to like glitch out a little bit. So yeah, I didn't know how that was going to work. So I'm kind of disappointed I lost a party member for seemingly no reason, and I can't figure out how to switch back. So I don't know. We'll see what's going on with that, but I'm having fun with the game, but there is really so much grinding in that. The world is one of the best parts of it, but I feel like so often you're being ripped out of that world because of random battles, and a lot of the times you're just going to like steamroll them because you've leveled up so much. But the game overall has its moments and it's fun. So
Yeah, like
if you like EarthBound, check it out.
I've totally thought about going and getting that at some point, but I don't know. There's something about how old and I guess grindy that game is, but maybe someday. Maybe
Neal,
someday I'll sit down with it.
You better just download it so we have a better chance at
Yeah, I
Mother
should
3.
do that. I'm gonna get guilted into that at some point because Mother
I'm
3.
guilting you
Holy
right
shit,
now.
dude!
I've never played Mother 3. I don't know
Everybody needs to
anything
play
about
Mother
it.
3. Mother 3 is so good.
I'd love to play it. So, Bill Trinan, get on that,
Yeah.
please.
If you're watching, hello.
Treehouse, please get on that.
Yeah. Also Splatoon. You've been playing some Splatoon as well.
Oh, Splatoon, yeah, I've been playing that. I played last night in the water slides versus roller coasters Splatfest. I was water slide, so I lost yet again.
Loser.
Yeah, that's all right. Even though Team Cat lost, which I supported last time, we were the better players. Which I know.
Team Water Slide was not the better players, let me tell you.
No, let me tell you, when I joined up with them, I could see that right away. I'm like, no, we're screwed. But yeah. And I've also been playing Smash Brothers a lot.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, the new characters. Been trying them out. They're fun. Ryu has a lot of depth to them.
With Splatoon, what's your primary weapons at this point?
I've been using is it the arrow spray, the gold one? I know there's a couple.
I think that's the RG. Or is
I'm not even sure. I stick with that so much.
Yeah, that's been my jam too.
It's so.
It's got the one with the ink mine, right?
It has the mine and the missile is like the special attack, and I've tried some other things, but I just feel like that's just overpowered right now. Maybe the only weakness it really has is you're not really good in combat. I think you're at a disadvantage. The Splatter Shot Junior I felt was really good for close combat, but
I tried the Splatoon-matic the other day, and that was okay.
I mean, I'd like to try more weapons. I need to save up my money and really start buying different stuff to try it out online. But that one gun is just, especially in the turf war mode, it just covers so much ground so fast. Especially if you get the high ground and you just start spraying like in different directions, it covers so much so fast. You can take a lot of ground really quickly. And even at the end of a match, if you just like rush the enemy's territory when they're not expecting it and just go nuts, you can really take a huge percentage back from them, and then launch your missile for after the time runs out points.
Cool. I think that might be it, right? Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, do we have any questions on Twitter? Or?
No, we do not. As far as I can tell, I will check. I've
great.
monitoring the chat, but blah 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 blah. Nothing, as far as I can tell. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and we will probably get back to you at some point. Definitely find any. We can find the A to your Q if need be. I think next week on Nintendo World Rapport, we're going to be having one of our wonderful video guys, John Raridan, on. And then after that, we're going to have, I think next week, or I think 2 weeks from today, will be when we have the Freedom Planet, right? Yeah. There's one of the guys from Freedom Planet. That should be fun. If you like what you saw, if you like what you heard, please subscribe to Nintendo World Rapport TV and do all that jazzy stuff that you people do on the YouTube to show that you like the videos that you're watching. You can check out other episodes of Nintendo World Rapport, including last week's, which was I guess kind of sad and then fun because it was me and Jules Watson from Renegade Kid talking right after we both found out that Satoru Iwata passed. But I think that turned out to be a pretty strong episode, and if you want to hear us talk about Iwata and then start talking about a lot of stuff that Renegade Kid is doing for the Wii U and 3DS, then check that out.
Yeah, it's worth listening to, so go back. Jules is a great guy.
Yeah. And Justin, thank you very much for guesting.
Hey, thanks for having me here. It's been fun.
Yeah, and since you were on the staff, you might be called on in the future because we're still going to
I'll
keep
be
up
around,
this kind of every other week sort of thing with having like game developers and then people from the staff. And I think I'm kind of rambling at this point. I'm sorry. It's very hot in my home right now. It's like 90 plus degrees, not even factoring the humidity in Jersey today, which is like hell on earth. It feels terrible.
Yeah, I think it's been the hottest day all year.
Yeah. So thank you for watching, and talk to you guys real soon. Bye.
Later.